friends, so here we are. It's a lovely morning here on the reservoir at Severn Dam, and Rollins and I are getting ready to leave. So in light of that, I decided to kind of do like a long trip RV checklist, things to check before you really hit the road. This one is kind of pertaining to the fact that we've been here a while, so we've been sitting for a while, and just kind of one of those things where it's like, what should we be checking for before we hit the road? Because we are driving. We're going to be driving a good while. We're heading from Alberta all the way over to Nova Scotia. So that said, I made a list. Starting with your truck, your tow vehicle, or in a motorhome's case, your power plant. You want to make sure your tire pressures are up, everything's even. You want to check your oil, especially your oil. Your transmission fluid, your other fluids, window washer, that kind of thing. And then eventually you're going to want to make sure that your hitch, if you have a hitch, or a fifth wheel, whether it's greased up, lubed up, etc. This fifth wheel has a Teflon plate between the slider and the pin, so that helps with the connection between the truck and the trailer. But the hitch itself, I lube up, once in a while, and I definitely check that often. Now, starting with the RV, I usually kind of start on top and work my way down. So top would be, make sure your antennas are down, make sure your vents are closed, make sure your windows are closed. And if you have like a flagpole or anything like that, you want to make sure that's down as well. Then I kind of move on to the inside, do the same thing, check the windows. I go through and make sure that the propane is off. The pumps are off. I've heard stories of people where they've left a water pump on and something has fallen or moved and turned the tap on, and they open up their RV after driving for a few hours to find that their fresh water tank has been emptied all over the inside of their RV. You do not want this to happen, so make sure your pumps are off. Yeah, you want to make sure your propane's off. They say you're not supposed to be traveling with any propane on. Days like today, I switched my fridge over to electric and it's fine. There has been some times where I have traveled just with the fridge on. Do not pull into a gas station with your fridge and stuff on, though, because that is considered an open flame, the pilot in the fridge, if you're on propane. So then, continuing on with the RV experience, you get down to basically, if you're towing a trailer, you want to make sure the tires are also up to snuff as far as pressure goes. So check your trailer tire pressure, especially if you've been sitting a while. We've been sitting a while and a little bit of sun on them too, so I just want to make sure everything's good. Not a bad idea to check your spare. When was the last time you checked the pressure on your spare? Make sure that's up to snuff, because if you have a blowout and your spare is flat, then you're kind of defeating the purpose, aren't you? After that, we hitch everything up, and then we go through the pre-driving checklist, which would be make sure your hitch is hitched up properly. Make sure your pins are down, make sure your cotter pin is in. Make sure the safety line for the emergency brake, basically it's a wire that tells the trailer brakes to engage if it's pulled and snaps, because basically if you happen to lose your trailer down the road, this basically tells the brakes on the trailer to slam on and hopefully prevent it from passing you or, you know, something worse. So yeah, make sure your hitch is hitched up properly, you're all lubed up, your pins are in, your safety brake is, you know, where it's supposed to be, and then make sure you're plugged in and check your lights. So you're checking your blinkers and your brake lights and that kind of thing. Make sure that people can see where you're planning on going. I've seen too many trailers with no brake lights. I've seen trailers at night with no lights at all. It's like you're just driving and you're like, what is that? All of a sudden, boom, oh, okay, I'm following a trailer. A dumbass dark wad with no lights on. So once you're all hitched up and ready to go, there's not too much left. You might want to plan where you're going, you know roughly where you're going that day kind of thing. You don't have to plan your whole trip ahead, but it's always a good idea to know at least which direction you're heading. And after that, do a double check and make sure you have any pets, spouses, or children. You don't want to be leaving them behind. And after that, well, there's just basically one more thing, and that's coffee. Do you have your cup of coffee ready for that start of the road trip? Or are you one of these guys that's going to pull into the nearest stop and buy one? Okay, I've done both. But yeah, you know what I mean. So get your coffee, get in, get ready. Oh, and one more thing. Pee before you go. Another little tidbit I just thought of late in the game is, like in my case here, we've been here a while, tanks are getting full. The first stop's going to be to dump the tanks. Now the reason behind this is you don't want to be driving hundreds of miles towing all that weight in liquid / solid. So get that out of the way early. That way you're not using gas and wear and tear on your vehicle towing all that extra weight. So as far as freshwater goes, you kind of want to look at, you know, where you're going, how long you're going to be driving for. If it's just a couple hours, and basically don't worry about it. But if you're doing a trip like say this one, where you're going, you're going to be driving for a few days. In my case, I've got between half and 3/4 of a tank of fresh water, and that's just gonna, you know, be it until I need some more. And then I'll start looking for a spot to top up, probably do another half, because that way you're not towing around a full tank of fresh water that you're not gonna necessarily need until later on down the road. Pardon the pun. So, something to consider. A few things that hopefully helped you out in your RV adventures. And if you like this video, give it a thumbs up. If you aren't already, please subscribe and ring the bell for notifications on when the next video is. That's it. Rollins and I are hitting the road soon, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, bye.
It's like working with a monkey.